Hello, and welcome back to Reenacting. In today's video, I want to go over the German haircut and the regulations on facial hair. Now, if you've looked at literally any old photographs of German soldiers, or even just soldiers from other nations, or even just any period photos from the 1930s, 40s, you'll notice that almost all the guys have a very distinct haircut style that is way different than what we have today. So, as us being reenactors, a big thing is that we need to obviously represent these soldiers and these men as accurately as possible, and one of the ways we can do this is to get a haircut. Looking at old photos and portraits of soldiers, whatever, you'll notice that there are usually two kind of distinctive styles that are present. There is the one that I'm actually wearing, the side part. I've got my hair parted off to the left here, shoulder end on the right. That's one of the main styles. The other style is the slick back, which is where the hair is just pushed all the way back up, all the way back on your head. So when going to decide what kind of haircut you're looking for, I would suggest looking through a bunch of old photos, looking at portraits and stuff, and try and find the one that looks best for you, the one that you like the most of those two styles. There's a lot of ways to do it. I mean, with the side part here, you'll notice my hair is pretty high up with the part. You'll see guys that'll have it kind of right down on him. Other ones that will have it high like I've got, some that have like almost no part. It's just all going one direction with just a little tiny bit left. With doing slick backs, there's different ways to do it, whether that's just like shoving it all backwards, having it kind of off to one side a little bit, or I've even seen like some variations of the two where it's technically a side part, but it's also kind of slick back in that the hair is like very heavily parted backwards. So look through a bunch of old photos to try and find whichever one you like the most. And another thing to consider is that you're going to be wearing this haircut for a good while, up until your event or thereafter, for a good 2 to 3 weeks. So make sure to get a cut that isn't going to look bad and you feel good about wearing, because you're going to be wearing it for a good 2 to 3 weeks. When going to the barber to get this type of haircut, I would suggest, again, look at those old photos, find the ones that are of the cut that you want, and take those to your barber. Be careful when trying to use words like fade or undercut or anything like that, because barbers are going to have their own modern interpretation of what those words mean, and it may not exactly match up with what us as reenactors are looking for with that period haircut. So again, just caution, just be careful, stress those pictures and try and get them to cut your hair to those pictures as best as you can. If we go over my haircut, you can see here I've actually got a pretty conservative cut. You'll see a lot of soldiers have all of this hair back here completely buzzed and gotten rid of. Occasionally you'll find some that are shorter like mine, but they still have it. So that's my personal preference. I like it this way better. But then it is fairly long on top here, and I've got it parted over, again, to the left. A lot of guys do it to the right, right-handed, whatever. That's just my personal style. So, again, there are lots of variations and ways to do it. Just, look around and just make sure that you get one that does look good, because the amount of times I have gone to an event and seen reenactors that have a modern haircut. Their hair's short, okay, it looks great otherwise, but for a reenacting event as a German, it just does not look good. Other times you'll see guys that have long hair and they're trying to hide it by putting it under their cap or their helmet or stuff, but after a little while of running around, you'll see long hairs kind of wisping out and poking out from their hat or helmet. It just does not look good. So, do yourself a favor, get a haircut. It helps in our portrayal and our image to the public. They will come, and the first thing they're going to notice is your physical appearance, obviously on top of the uniform and all that kind of thing. So having that haircut is a good way to kind of cement in their mind of, oh wow, this is a whole different time period with a whole different cultural, mannerisms and stuff, and then, hairstyles and all that were vastly different from what we have today. So for grooming, I have a Bakelite comb here. This is one that I carry in the field. I got this from, War's End Shop. There are versions of these in bone and aluminum as well. So, find one, whatever your preference is, but get a period comb for use in the field and just slick that hair back, or put it all the way back for a slick back when you need it. That's what I like to use. The other thing I also wanted to touch on is facial hair and the regulations surrounding that for the German soldier, and even just kind of in general. Again, in the 30s, 40s, even back in the 20s, it was kind of the style to have clean-shaven. Sometimes in the 20s, you'll definitely see more mustaches and that kind of thing, but in the 30s and 40s, the predominant and popular style, even for outside of military in any country, was predominantly that clean-shaven, suit and tie, businessman kind of look. So, and that also carried over into the German Army and the Wehrmacht with their regulations. Regulations was every soldier is clean-shaven, no exceptions. Granted, there is one exception for this, and that is the Gebirgsjägers, or mountain troops. They were allowed up to 2 centimeters worth of hair, so not a lot, but they could have little nicely kept short trim beards or mustaches, or a combination of the two. So they were allowed that. Sometimes you will see pictures of officers that have a little mustache, or some of them even kind of have like the old Prussian style mustache, but those were definitely the exception. Officers got a little more leeway. Typically you'll see those pictures of them when they're out in the field. So again, they're out in the field, they have a little bit more leeway with regulation and that kind of thing, but it was very much the exception and not the norm. You'll even see, I think there's one famous photo of a guy in Stalingrad. He's got part of his breast eagle kind of peeling away, and you'll see he has a beard. Well, a beard. He's got a little bit of stubble growing in around his face, and again, that was the exception. Guys in Stalingrad were primarily concerned with fighting for their lives and trying to survive, so shaving was not on their radar. It was an afterthought. Maybe they didn't have access to a razor, or what have you. So, but again, general regulation was clean shaven. So if you're going to an event, or going to a display, tactical, whatever it is, shave off that mustache, shave off that beard, or you got a little bit of patchy stubble growing in, just shave it off. It makes you look that much better. I mean, granted, an exception if you're doing a specific event, just a specific tactical or scenario or whatever where that could be allowed. Battle of Berlin, Stalingrad, some of those battles where that could be something you might have seen. Great, but again, it's just that was regulation, and that's what you want to portray as the reenactor. For shaving, I use just a normal metal period double-edged razor. I actually use this for all of my shaving that I do in and off the field, whether I'm attending reenactments or not. So that's my personal preference. I like it. I like how it feels. I like how it cuts. If you don't, great. Use a modern razor or whatever if you want to get. But that's just my personal choice of what I like to use. But, you know, just a summation, get that haircut, you know, shave off that stubble when you're going to an event. It's just one more thing that helps improve your appearance, helps improve the public's perception of you as the reenactor, and you just look a whole lot better as it. You know, there's a very specific portrayal of the German soldier and how he looks, how he acts, you know, his mannerisms and that kind of thing. And getting a period haircut and getting that, doing that shave before an event is super beneficial in nailing that appearance, which, you know, that's half of what we do reenacting on the public side of things for. So I will leave in the description of this video a link to 1 or 2 guides on haircuts, kind of showing what the standard was, a couple variations. Very helpful. I used it when I first got my haircut. So check that out. That will be, hopefully should be a big help for you. But otherwise, that was kind of all I wanted to rant on for a little bit. So if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to check that description. Alright, bye.